guys, Rudo here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I know it's been a while since I've posted a video, and that is because I have been recuperating after publishing my book and everything that's been going on to promote it, to market it, and everything else. So I have decided to finally make a video for my book launch, and this is part one, where it's mostly my interview with Samantha, who's also my publisher, where I talk about my writing journey, which stories were hard to write, and all of that. And I hope you enjoy this glimpse into my life. And if you've bought my book, thank you so much. I would love to hear what you think, good or bad. I think it's time I grow up and, take criticism, because that's the only way to grow. And I'm looking forward to showing you part 2 of the video, which will be coming out next week. So enjoy. Bye.
Before we start, so our bathrooms are at the back. Ladies, it's to your left if you go through the doors, and then the gents, they're on your right. And we've got 2 fire exits. One is to my left and the other one is at the back. So before we start, I'm going to ask Carl, can you please give us an opening prayer? So I want to welcome our author, Rudo, and LiQWYD, her editor and publisher. So they're just gonna come and sit here, and then we can
I think every time someone asks me who I am, I start with the story of, me coming back. But I actually was born in Chumurenga, and then around the age of 9, I moved to Tinot North, and I attended Alfred Bate Primary School, and then Tinot High School from Form 1 to Upper 6. And I would say that's when my passion and my dream was actually came forth and chose me, if I'm to say. I think I'm quite bad at introducing myself, but I think that's the best I can come up with at the moment.
That's good. I think that's good enough. Thank you.
Right? It was because you found me. You actually found me through Twitter, through blogs.
Yes, so I found you, via Twitter.
Yeah.
So I first knew of you as a book reviewer.
Yeah.
And you reviewed my books actually,
yes,
which was great. And then I got hooked onto your YouTube channel. And one day I was just watching a random video of yours on YouTube, and you mentioned that you were a writer and you were going through a writer's block, and you said where your writing was. I was like, oh, okay, let me go and check it out. Let's go and see what she writes. And I was very pleasantly surprised to fall in love with Kuraone, because the first version of Kuraone, of course, and it was very wonderfully written, and I thought, right, we've got to have this in the anthology I was working on, Brilliance of Hope.
Yeah.
So it was a really cool way of meeting, I think, and we'd already met, but it was a cool way of getting your writing out there. So
Yeah. So I would say, from my own experience, being a Zimbabwean writer in the UK, I think having been found by a publisher was a very good idea, because if I were to go out and seek a publisher myself, I was never going to publish the book, because there was a lot of self-doubt. I did not.
Plus, there's a lot of competition as well.
Yes, there's a lot of competition. There are a lot of, especially now, there are a lot of African writers now who are actually coming up and publishing their work, and there's a lot of competition.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So, I think you've already answered my next question, which was, when did you know there was a budding author in you? So maybe let's go into the creative process. What's your creative process like?
So it's been a while since I've written. I think the last story I wrote was before COVID. So since COVID, I've not had the inspiration. But my writing process is I always have to listen to Zimbabwean music.
Right.
I think there's that feeling of home. I can't really describe it, but there's just that sense of being familiar. And I like that because I think it helps me to see the Zimbabwe I knew before, because obviously now it's different. When I left Zim, we were still paying R5 for code, but no, that's not the case now. But I think listening to Zimbabwean music, it's really something which is very powerful, which is why I resonate to so many Zimbabweans now who are doing Zimbabwean music, because I grew up around the era of urban blues. That's something that really calls to me. So I always have to listen to Zimbabwean music. That's a very good inspiration. And my writing process is, I'm trying to wean myself off, but I can only write when I go to the Waterstone Book Cafe. There's just something about the place that makes me concentrate, but I'm trying to also be able to write in other places, but my brain just cannot.
Maybe it's the creative energy in all those
it
books
could be
surrounding.
I think so, because that's literally the only place where I can write. I've tried writing at home, but it's just a lot going on. But as soon as I go there, I can write like a whole passage.
That's
I think,
amazing.
yeah, that's how I managed to do the editing, because if I had not gone there, I could not. My other thing when it comes to writing is I read. I read a lot because if many don't know, I really didn't go to school for writing. I was taking online courses and a lot of reading. So if you want to be a good writer, if you don't have access to the creative writing programs, a lot of reading will help, because it will help you to find the kind of writing you like to write. Because I remember Toni Morrison also said something like, if you find a book that you like and the style of the writer, write that book by pen. Obviously you can do that, but she was saying that for you to get into that, for you to see your vision through that. So I did that a lot. When I started writing, I was reading a lot of African literature. So that kind of helped me to also write my own thing, but there was a lot of reading that went on. So yeah, Zimbabwean music, Waterstone, and a lot of reading. And a lot of my imagination. I just started to look for different ways for me to kind of get inspired and find that feeling again. And maybe this time around it'll be much better. Like what I'm saying before, like the 23-year-old me was writing from a point of view, but now that I'm 27 now, I think I'll be writing from a more mature, more more mature view, and to deal with things in a way that's quite different. Because not that I'm saying what she wrote, I'm sorry, I refer to myself as different. Not that there's any disorder within me or anything, but I think it makes sense to me to say the 23-year-old me, because we're different now. So I think, not that his stories were bad or anything, but I think now I have a different view to what I want to write, because I think now I want to try my hand at like romance, like proper sickening romance, because I feel like we need that as Black girls, as Zimbabwean girls, something that will make you like, oh, is this realistic? So I think I kind of want to escape to that. As in my stories from this book, they're quite different because they're too close to reality in a way. But
how do you ensure that your work is of excellent quality?
I think have someone read your work. I think that's very important. Someone you trust. Of course, there's going to be criticism. There's going to be feedback. Some you won't like, some you will like. But I think at the end you have to look at it from a point of view of saying, okay, is this person saying this to build me, or is it coming from a place of not really? But I think taking criticism is something very nice, and write what you want to read. I always say this because I think it's something which really pushed me, because when I started writing, I was so obsessed with Toni Morrison. Oh my gosh. I was so obsessed with Toni Morrison. So write the kind of stories you want to read, because I think that also brings your vision to reality. And read a lot of reading, especially like what I said, if you don't have access to go for creative writing, do a lot of reading and take as many free courses, online classes as you can, because I think that's also what I had to my advantage. Thanks to my pastors, they actually introduced me to that. There was this writing program in church. So they were like, oh, you might like this, and then I joined it, and then I was like, yeah, that's actually a very good thing. So also having people who see your vision, who support it, and allow you to know, to grow in that's also very important.
No, you're right, you're spot on. And I think I would like to add one more thing, I think, to that. Read your own work. Because I think everyone else reads your work. And I think if you find within the first couple of pages that you can't stand your own words, how do you expect anyone else to like them?
That's true.
So I think you kind of need to read and reread your own work until it feels delicious in your own ears, or whatever. Just love your own work, write well until you believe that, okay, I like that about you. I like that about you.
I think that was very lazy of me, because I was just like, well, this is, Crown, this is Chipo, this is who.
Yeah.
But, I think...
But those names and meanings,
I guess.
And they say a lot about the characters, they say a lot about our culture. Kuraon,
I think is always intentional.
Yeah, Pamushana, I think all of them, Tamuka, these names and meanings.
Yeah, that's true.
If one stops to think about them, they'll learn a thing or two about our culture. So I think it was quite a creative way of.
To be honest, I didn't see it as a creative way, because I was just stealing my friends and family's names, to be honest. Those are all my friends and family's names in the books, because I was like, I can't think of anyone's names. But when you're writing, it's quite hard for you to come up with names. Yeah. Especially which was Zimbabwean, because I didn't want anything too close. Especially when I was writing like Pamushana, I didn't want something like Mudiwa or Taliwa, because they're quite modern in a way. Yeah. So I don't think they would have existed in like 1965. So there was also that kind of research which I had to go through to look at the names, what names were popular around the time, what names this and this. Yeah. But I was just stealing from my family. All of them. I think Pamushana was the hardest story to write, because I know I wrote two parts of it. The third, the ending was quite hard, because I was trying my hard not to kill anyone, which was very hard. I had this obsession of killing characters for a long time. I don't know why. There was just this drama of someone dying. I blame Shonda Rhimes, to be honest. I blame Shonda Rhimes.
People die every day.
Yeah, but she kills the main character. She's not afraid to kill the main character.
Because in real life, main characters die.
Yeah, but I just found her writing fascinating, because she's not afraid to kill the main character. The one you love the most is the one she goes for. So I think I was going through that, but I wanted them to at least have a happy ending, because they've been through a lot. Because in Pamushana there's Kukraundi, which was a very touchy subject, and I had to be also sensitive. I had to do my own research, and I remember when I met Novio Suma, right? I remember when I read House of Stone. And I could not. I remember telling her that I'm so sorry I could not read your book, because the thing with Kukraundi, it was not really explained to us. We just knew that it was our fault. So when I was reading it, I was thinking, as a Shona person, it's my fault. So I think I kind of read the book from that view, until she took me aside, and she was very nice, and the family, they were very kind when they came to Oxford University. When I got the chance to meet her, and she was like, no, that's not what happened. They were also killing other Shona people, who were protecting the Ndebele from what was happening. So I had to learn for myself what was happening, rather than hearing what people were saying. Because from what people were saying, it was Shona people as a whole our fault, without me realizing that it had to do with the 5th Brigade, it had to do with the government. So I had to dig deep into it, and also what she said to me was very helpful. She literally took time to explain to me that, Rudo, you're Shona, yes, I'm Ndebele, yes, but it's not your fault that Kukraundi is not on you. Because I don't know why, I just took that toll on me. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know why. So she was very kind enough to explain to me. So after that, I had to do my own research. I had to learn for myself. and also I had to ask my dad, but also like I was saying, I had to tread lightly because it was during that time he lived through that time and he went through something, and yeah, that's how I think 1965 was quite hard for me, because also I had to include Debele words which I did not know, so someone on Twitter had to help me with that, because I couldn't trust Google throughout. Her name is Tando. I'm definitely going to thank her after all this is settled, and she was very helpful. I would go to her and ask her like, what's this and this in Debele, that she was kind enough to tell me, because I was also scared of that, to say, you know, they'll be like, oh, you want to, you know, jump over and start knowing stuff and then this and that. So I had to be careful while I was asking, and she was kind enough to do that for me, so I'm very grateful for her trauma visual experience. So I got as much as I could without me prying, because I think it's a very sensitive, it's a very sensitive issue, and I think I only realized when I was asking him questions about it. He was like, yeah, I'm not going to talk about that. And I was like, oh, okay. And obviously I was like, but why? Then I was thinking, he went through that. He literally was experience. Exactly. And I think sometimes we don't think of our parents' traumas because we're just like, oh, they're parents, you know. But I think I had to tread lightly with him. So I was asking him, so I was like, oh, so what about your life? How was it when he started? But even when he started telling me about his own life from a young age, he kind of skipped those bits.
The painful bits.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, so let me use my creativity to kind of see. But I took in what he told me, like the places, the names of the places, and the rules, like no black people after 6 p.m. and stuff. I took that from him. I took how, like the transport situation, I took it from him. And the IUD, I had to ask him obviously, and then I had to Google to see like what exactly was going with Ian Smith, because I think for me, I just know of Ian Smith, but I never really understood what exactly was going on. So I think there was also a lot of learning for me, for me to be able to write it, because you can't just write. People come for you. These days you can't just write something and then expect people, oh, it's fiction. You kind of have to have facts in there. So I think I took as much as I could from my dad, and also it was mostly my mom and my dad, because when I realized that it was very sensitive, I did not want to, you know, pry too much into it. We're also starting off, you know. We're also trying this new thing, and when you start, you make a lot of mistakes, and there's always room for growth. So I think it's also best for us to support each other before we look for the help outside, because I think it helps when we help each other, and then as time goes on, we now reach out to other audiences and stuff. So I think it's very important for us to also help and to support each other. And thank you so much. I hope you guys are going to buy my book, and I hope you enjoy it. I might be having an anxiety attack because of the criticism, obviously, but I think I need to grow up. I think I need to be an adult and, you know, accept criticism. But other than that, I think that's all I have to say.